Raven fans, Oriole fans, thank you this week for joining us here on the Raven Sports Podcast. This week, thank you for joining us here. Like and subscribe to all of our social media platforms. Numbers are up. We got more subscribers this week. We got more. I think we got one every day this week on all of our platforms. So we thank you for that. So definitely looks like the move is starting to go up a little bit. Thank you very much for taking any of your day, especially this time of year. Christmas is over. Holidays are over. We're getting back to our normal routines here. So thank you for getting squared away with us every week here in the Raven Sports Podcast. Joining us on all of our platforms, Drive to the Top Productions. I've been doing some stuff with them. There's going to be an interview with me this week that's coming out on Brother Dion Davis's channel in Chicago. That should be coming out very soon. We're going to be talking Ravens and Steelers there as well. So definitely like and subscribe to all of our content. Genesis Notary Services /Facebook.com. Definitely, if you are in the Shenandoah Valley area, please check us out. Genesis Notary Services, they're great value for you in Shenandoah Valley. So we can go ahead, if you need a wedding officiant, if you need any I'm drawing a blank. the wedding officiant, documents, notary services, general notary, real estate notary, inspection. That's what I wanted, was escaping my mind there. So definitely we can do all that for you here in Shenandoah Valley area. See Charles Harris, we are Legal Shield. Definitely, if you need any legal advice, any legal help with a service, definitely we can go ahead and get that for you as well. Value of Legal Shield is tremendous. Definitely check that out for you as well. RavenSports.company.site. Go on our website and get that. Hopefully we have the app rolled out by the Super Bowl. We want to go ahead and do that on a Super Bowl stream. Hopefully we'll be able to go ahead and get that squared away for you. Major League Baseball preseason preview is on March 23rd, the week of the Major League Baseball season starting. So we're going to preview the whole MLB for you there. So definitely go ahead and check that out as well. And it hasn't been announced yet officially. I haven't got a stream yet, but because I don't know exactly what time. Super Bowl Sunday, we're going to be here. Hopefully the Ravens will be in the Super Bowl, as we are always hoping here in the divisional round. We're going to have a long day if the Ravens are actually in the Super Bowl. If not, it'll just be more of a regular stream, just kind of talking about the Super Bowl, the offseason, etc. Super Bowl Sunday. All right. So a lot to get to because there's a lot going on. Obviously, the Ravens and the Squealers last week in the playoff game. So Ravens 28-14. Obviously, the good news result from downtown Baltimore, Camden Yards, 28-14. The score in this is not indicative of actually what happened. Or Ravens all the way through in this one, never really in doubt. A little bit of offense at some points for the Squealers in this one, but the Ravens were pretty much in control of this one from start to finish, all the way through. Lamar didn't need to throw for a lot of yards. Look, these passing days he's having on these big days for Derrick Henry, etc. 16 for 21, 217, only 5 passes, incomplete, 2 touchdowns. This is exactly what you need. He's getting better and better. I kind of said that during the game. Just because you're great doesn't mean you can get better. Michael Jordan got better. LeBron James got better. Look, great players get better. Kobe Bryant got better. And that's exactly what's happening with Lamar Jackson. Even though he's been outstanding, this is, I think, passing is outstanding. And he understood the Steelers rush, ran inside, and I'm sure he's more beat up doing that. But definitely good stuff from Lamar. Derrick Henry spearheaded the run game. That number is right. 186 yards on the ground, 2 TDs. What a pickup Derrick Henry has been. I mean, he's getting older. He's just, what a mistake that was by Dallas and Tennessee and these teams that didn't want to keep Derrick Henry on their team. I mean, this guy is just been phenomenal for them as well. Derrick Henry, I think, does everything on the field. Guys in the fourth quarter were making business decisions, not wanting to tackle him. Patrick Queen didn't want to talk about it. I'm sure because he would have got ran over by Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry runs everybody over. He was outstanding. No Zay Flowers in this one, but Isaiah Likely, 3 catches, 53 yards. This guy, phenomenal catching the ball out of the backfield. Definitely, I think, as weird as it sounds, I think whenever they move on from Pat Ricard, they might want to keep Isaiah Likely kind of in a everybody's thinking like it's going to be Andrews, but I can honestly see them paying enough money to Isaiah Likely to be interesting to see. He's going to have value on the open market, but I can actually see him in a Pat Ricard type role for that. Yeah, the Ravens and the Bills is the real Super Bowl. No, it isn't. 2 best teams, maybe, but that ain't the Super Bowl. We ain't counting that one, brother. That's the Super Bowl without the Lombardi Trophy. I hear you, though. Average Joe Show podcast, definitely check him out. He's hilarious. Him and Van, there's no other reason. They talk about old school wrestling and all the stuff like that, so definitely check that out if you haven't done that already. Daffy Owe has a sack as well. Look, they're now even saying, I even read an article this week where some of the best pass rush duos in the league is Kyle Van Noy and Daffy Owe, even considering that a weakness throughout the whole thing. So definitely that's really turned around. Owe definitely down the stretch, fantastic. He got 1 sack. Van Noy got 1 sack. The pass rush is outstanding. Manabuke getting double, triple team because of his ability to collapse the pocket. It's really opened up for those guys. Kyle Van Noy, just phenomenal setting the edge. That's something that a lot of football fans miss, but making sure those rush lanes are clear, guys don't get outside of them, maintaining the run and the pass. He's outstanding as well. Let's talk about the Squealers. Wow, man. Russell was at his last game as an NFL quarterback on Sunday. 20 on Saturday night, rather. 20 passes, rather. 29 yards, 270, 2 TDs. Russell's going to give you, if they bring him back, he's going to give you a decent season, but I don't know if that's going to help the Steelers much. I think I'm actually more of the mind of the thought that he might come back to Pittsburgh. I don't know what else Pittsburgh would do. I think they're kind of stuck, like Sam Darnold, Russell Wilson, Kirk Cousins, something like that. I mean, Russell might be as good a choice as they're going to get in the offseason. We will see what happens there. Another guy who I think he's probably played his last game as a Steeler, Najee Harris, going to be a free agent. He's not the guy. Najee Harris is built the part, big guy, can run over people. Guy who's a great Kansas City Chief, lives in the area. Guy named Barry Word back in the day. Christian Okoye, a big guy who can run. He just doesn't do enough. He doesn't check enough boxes in the modern NFL at running back to actually go ahead and be a great running back. I think they're going to move on. We will see, though. I mean, they got some decisions to make. Another guy, George Pickens, they move on from. Pickens, I think, is a good receiver. Can he get his mind right? I mean, his post-game press conference was just the Steelers just can't seem to get away from guys like AB, Chase Claypool, Guys with just these bad attitudes. Deontay Johnson, they had trouble with. They have so many of these guys. He was the only offense they had on Sunday. He was the only offense they had. I mean, definitely. So, I mean, that's a consideration, man. But I don't think you can't have guys just railing on the coach, railing on the offensive coordinator, and stuff like that. So that's the thing. Alex Highsmith did get a sack. TJ Watt did not. So Highsmith got a sack. I think I saw more pressure from him. The Ravens strategically, though, in my opinion, they kind of stayed away from those guys. They kind of stayed away from the outside and inside pass rush as well. So I think that was a thing that they were doing. I would say as well, they did. Roger Rogo especially, good job holding up on TJ Watt in this game. The Steelers are supposed to have a good defense. They really faded down the stretch. I thought their defense was good early in the year, but I mean, Derrick Henry, what was it, 299 on the ground? That was just incredible, the way the Ravens run game as well. Look, it's not like you didn't know if you're Pittsburgh. You had no Zay Flowers, so you knew what the game plan was going to be. They were going to run Derrick Henry. It is very tough to stop Derrick Henry. Ravens going on to the next round. We're going to get to that. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Squealers here as well. Couple things. The Steelers swagger is gone. I almost don't even like saying that, but I'm not even talking about the coaching and that stuff, but the fan base. I did the conversation with Adam, did the chats with like they all sounded like Adam. When I had a guy at my church, Steeler fan, every week comes with a Steeler jersey, seeing me, the Ravens got, you guys got it, man. I like the fan base of the Steelers is really, 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 really down. So they've been out 6 straight years, one and done, or not hitting in the playoffs. I think they've had 6 straight one and dones. So I understand that as well. The other thing I think Steeler fans are wrong about is Tomlin. There's a lot of people that believe that Tomlin's not going to get fired in any circumstances. I don't believe that one either. They fire him. We just saw it in New England. 22 years with Bill Belichick, and now 2 straight years, the Crafts are good ahead, and they fired their coach in the offseason because they weren't winning. So I don't think they've had a reason to do it. I think they're getting there, but there's an argument to be made as everything he's done to stay. But man, those fans as well. I almost feel bad for the Squeal fans because this isn't a Ravens Steelers game. The closeness, the physicality, the hitting, etc. This was way too easy. Steelers gone in the offseason because we got business here in the divisional round. The Ravens going against the Bills. You just heard Average Joe talk about this is the real Super Bowl. This is the 2 guys. One of them for sure is going to be the MVP of the National Football League. Look at the records: 13-5 for the Ravens, 14-4 if you include playoffs for the Buffalo Bills. It is going to be cold in Buffalo. Cold. Buffalo, I think, is one of the coldest places. If you've never been to Buffalo, you go there in the summer and you need your coat on at night. Like I was there in the middle of August and it was 40 degrees. Like in the high some of the years, it's going to be 8 degrees at kickoff. Apparently, they're saying under 10. No snow, but very cold. So this is January football we're going to have. Lamar, can he shed the label of being bad in the playoffs? Great from start to finish in the last game, I thought. So can he go into Buffalo and win? You're probably going to have to go into Buffalo. You're definitely going into Buffalo. You're probably going to have to go into Kansas City and actually take it away unless there's an upset. Interesting to see how Lamar does from start to finish. I think they're going to stick to the game plan. Derrick Henry, they stop the run. Very small-ish, as good as they are, linebackers, they're definitely going to run the ball. I think Derrick Henry is going to be as much a part of the game plan if the Ravens can hold the Lombardi Trophy. Almost 1,000 yards running, 1,900, 16 TDs, had 2 last week. Derrick Henry, is so much a part of the game plan and what they're going to do. Zay Flowers, we still don't know. He didn't practice today. Harbaugh in the presser earlier this week was saying he doesn't necessarily have to practice to play. So I think this might go all the way up until game time to see if Zay Flowers can go. Mark Andrews, I thought, was terrific. All down the stretch, fantastic. That was what he did in the season. 11 TDs, 673 yards, 55 receptions. Good stuff by him. Roquan was fantastic all season as well. They're definitely going to need him against a very good Bills run game, quarterback and running back, similar to Baltimore. Physical runners, both the running back and the quarterback. Who is the QB? Josh Allen. What a year he's had. Josh Allen, I think was it 28 or 38 touchdowns with Josh Allen. But Josh Allen, I think, is one of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL. He's one of the best. I've been very impressed with Josh Allen this year. I think a lot of that, it was 28. So I think a lot of that with Josh Allen, the thing I concerned was the interceptions. Throws a lot of interceptions. He's really cut that down. He really struggled early in his career more than people remember without Stephon Diggs. No Diggs this year, and Josh Allen was really good. Runs the ball well with physicality, unlike Lamar. Not that Lamar can't, but Lamar doesn't really run people over. He's so fast. He's going to run somebody over in the run game. Big guy, Josh Allen, fantastic. Two best quarterbacks, I think, this season in the NFL, without the question. You could throw Joe Burrow in there. I think these two guys are at the top of the food chain this season. James Cook, over 1,000 yards, 16 touchdowns. Cook, I think, physical running back as well. Definitely one of the reasons why they were able to survive Stephon Diggs and a lot of young receivers is the run game is now improved. It's not just Josh Allen running over people in the open field. They have you have James Cook, a big physical running back, not quite a Derrick Henry, because that's such a thing, but definitely he might be number 2 or 3. I mean, in terms of running people over. You might say Josh Jacobs, but I mean, somebody you want to see. Ravens do have size to match the size. That's going to be the game here. Can you do something against the Bills' run game? Can you go ahead and stop Josh Allen and James Cook from running over people and running the football in the game? You think the Ravens match up pretty good with the corners, but can they do something with these outstanding running backs? Khalil Shakur, 76 yards, 76 receptions, 821, 4 TDs. 7 in the game, yards after the catch, I think is as high as anybody but Jamar Chase. That's saying a lot. They went ahead and got Amari Cooper. We already talked about they got rid of Diggs. They drafted Keon Coleman early. This has pretty much been the guy to really break out. A lot of short stuff he can take to a distance. They use him similar to the Ravens, the way they used to use Zay more last year. More gadget stuff, more in motion. They're going to have to watch him as well. Definitely, they are going to target Brandon Stephens. I don't know how much he's going to be on secure, but Josh Allen, you can bank on the fact that they're going to stay away from Humphrey. They're going to stay away from Nate Wiggins. Throw more at Brandon Stephens. Let's see also too if Tre'Davious White gets more run in this game. So it'll be interesting to see. Milano, these are regular season tackles. He is an outstanding outside line 4-3 linebacker as well. Old school, little smallish, but very physical at the point of attack. I'm really curious to see how he holds up against a Derrick Henry. But this guy hits it's like the Ivan Drago line. Whatever he hits, he destroys. Hits with power and speed. So definitely it'll be interesting to see how he lines up as well. I think this would be a very good chess match for them as well. What is we already talked about him. Zay Flowers. Oh, put him back up there. Zay Flowers. Is he going to play? They're going to need to score because Buffalo's going to score. You're not going to have that. You're not dealing with a pedestrian Steelers offense. You're dealing with an outstanding quarterback, good running back, solid offensive line. Buffalo as well. They're going to score some points. So any added firepower, you have your best receiver be using on the field. The X's Brandon Stevens. If we get a good game from Brandon Stevens, they'll beat the Bills for sure. Because that's the thing. They're going to target him for sure. They're not going to, when they are throwing the ball down the field, they're going to do that. They're going to look to Humphrey. Not a great receiving group for them. They did get, I think I already mentioned, they already got Cooper. They got Keon Coleman. They don't have a lot of studs, so I think it can be shut down. But Stevens has really struggled. I think in this game, if that happens, I think you could see them go to Tre'Davious White more in this one. Very possible. I think that the Ravens will do that in this one. I don't know who wins. I think the Ravens actually do edge it out. I think they're a better team than Buffalo. They definitely showed it earlier in this year. I don't think Buffalo has the horses to beat the Ravens. I think the Ravens can beat you anyway. They run the ball, obviously. The concern is Brandon Stevens holding up in the secondary. I think that's the biggest weakness, the biggest flaw in the secondary on the defense. And Lamar, can he get a good game here in the divisional round? He's really struggled a lot in these divisional round games. Even last year, lousy in the first half. Year before that, struggled. Had some good wild card games now, but here in this round, like to see it from Lamar. Let's say 27-24 Ravens over Buffalo, and this one, you crazy if you're going out to Buffalo if you're a Ravens fan to travel, because it's going to be cold. Good for you guys that are going to go out there and do that. Hopefully, we have a contest, our podcast where we're talking about the Ravens in the NFC Championship, like we were last year. And if it is an upset, we're going to know. If it is Houston, they win. The game is going to be in Baltimore if the Ravens are successful. If they lose, if the Bills win, then the Bills are actually, if the Chiefs win, if the Chefs win, then they're going to get the game at home in Kansas City. All right. No more Big Five because we're down to 8. We only got 3 other games on the schedule in addition to the Ravens. So let's go ahead and go over the divisional round. Last week, we're going to talk a little bit about the NFL playoffs last week here as well. Those games. Texans over the Chargers. I thought that was probably the biggest surprise. The margin of victory. The fact that they won by as much as they did. Texans are good at home, if anybody's noticed. They've struggled on the road, but they've been good at home, I think, all the time. I think they've been a road underdog 2 straight years, and they've actually went ahead and took them out. Chargers, I don't think there's anything to be concerned about. They got as far as they could go with that roster. I think defensively, they may lose Mack. We're going to see about Bosa, etc. On defense. I think they really need to build up there, get a wide receiver. That's out as good as they were going to do this year. Bills, no contest really in that one. Buffalo, kind of same. I think they went about as far as they're going to go. Bo Nix, I did a phenomenal job for them this year. But the Bills, I think, are a juggernaut. They're going to score a lot of points. That's even a good defense. Buffalo, Denver, I think, is kind of underrated. But I think it was really good stuff by the Bills. A little bit surprised that this was a little bit closer to the Packers and the Eagles. The Packers, really, Jordan Love, signs of struggle now. Like a couple games, throwing the ball. He kind of, I used to say about Jordan Love, he only throws the ball short and immediate, and he didn't make mistakes, but he didn't really move the ball either. So he's kind of got more confidence throwing the ball downfield, and you're seeing more mistakes, a little bit more uneven down the stretch. I think the Eagles are what they are. I think the Eagles might have the best offense, maybe better players than any other team in the NFL. I think they're good. I've heard some concern about Hurts. Who cares? Saquon Barkley is like just killing it. Defense is emerging. I think they're right there as well. Vikings and the Rams. 2 straight weeks, the lights look right for Darnold. I thought he just didn't play well. I thought you can't give the ball away like he did. The Rams, again, don't make mistakes. They do very well not making mistakes. 27 points, game at home, even considering the circumstances. Shout also our thoughts and prayers to everybody in Los Angeles. Talking about the Rams, that's a terrible tragedy that's going on. We're hoping for the best. Continue to pray for the people in Los Angeles. The fire's still going on, guys, regardless of what people tell you. There's still issues out there in Los Angeles. And the last game, obviously, the Commanders. I didn't even realize it had been 20 years since they had actually won a playoff game, been to the divisional round. But that was great. Jaden Daniels is him. That was terrific. This guy doesn't sweat in the stretch in a tough situation. He was fantastic. I thought Jaden Daniels was outstanding. So shout out to him there as well. Now we got the divisional round this week. Texans and the Chefs. They're going to start it on Saturday. It seems like they always get the early Saturday game, the Texans. I don't see this one being close. I think the Texans don't do as well on the road. It's going to be cold out there in Kansas City. Stroud was good last week. I think the Chiefs have been – I am somewhat worried about the long layoff the Chiefs have had. That's like they haven't played football since Christmas. Literally, some of them. I mean, they won the division on Christmas Day, the early game, and it's going to be the 60th. I think it's like almost 20 plus days. Now they're a veteran team; they can use it, but I envision them being rusty early at least. I don't know if the Texans I don't think the Texans will do enough to take advantage of it, but I like the Chefs in this one as well. Commanders and the Lions in this one. They're still celebrating here in Virginia. A lot of them are Commanders fans, haven't been this far in a while. I think they have the better quarterback on the field. I definitely do. Jaden Daniels, I think, wow. I mean, just poised under pressure, tough to bring down. He's a tough runner, too. I think that's kind of underrated, but very accurate in the pocket. McLaurin is standing in the red zone, too. I think he's as good of a receiver I've seen. He gets over the goal line, gets tough catches in the red zone as well. But the Lions, I think, are too much for him here. I think like the great run game there, two outstanding running backs, Gibbs, Montgomery. Goff's been fantastic for them all year long. They can beat anyway. I think they're the most really good diverse team. It doesn't seem like their defense slowed a lot, even though they have all the injuries that everybody's been talking about. And I do think I give the Commanders a chance because of Jaden Daniels. You have to, after what I've seen, but he is still a rookie in this divisional round. I'm going to go ahead and take the Lions. I think the Lions go to the AFC Championship here. I think this is, going to be everybody's talking about the Ravens and the Bills. I think this is going to be an outstanding one as well. The Rams and the Eagles as well. This is close. I say this. Hurts hasn't looked great. I'm not so worried about Jalen Hurts, but I think we want to see a good Jalen Hurts passing performance with everything there. But they may not need to with this outstanding run game that they have. Rams, I think, have developed young players. They're finally getting picks. They got Javon Curse, Cole Turner in this one as well. I think there's a lot to like in Los Angeles. Definitely, I don't like a LA team playing in Philly in January, though. that's not a great rest piece there. I think Stafford, though, has been there before. I'm going to take the Eagles. I think the Eagles have a better team. I think the Eagles will still have their way. The run game will still have their way against the Rams. So I think we got Rams. So that we're going to have Eagles, Lions, as we've predicted for a while in the NFC Championship. And let's go Ravens, Chefs in the AFC. There you go. All right. So we got that in. We were talking about that. Definitely check it out on all different networks this weekend. ESPN, Fox, CBS, all that stuff. I think each one is on a different network. I think I'm not sure. On the top of my head, I have to look that up. All right. So we do have the final game of the college football season. College football and the Fighting Irish. And you want to talk about a toss-up? I've been racking my brain to figure out, give you guys a good prediction here. And I'm still not sure. These are two really similar, really good teams. Coaches are very similar. Styles of players are very, very fascinating stuff here. Ohio State, Will Howard. I've been saying it all year. Will Howard, I think, the stats are really good. I mean, you look at that, you're going to say 33 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, almost 4,000 yards passing. He's got everything around him. He's just not. I really would have liked to have Kyle McCord stay as well. Will Howard's been solid, though. I can't really argue that. He's gotten them far for sure. I definitely think I don't even know which one of these two is a better quarterback. I think Riley Leonard, is more fun to watch, but I definitely think Will Howard has gotten him here. He's done what he's needed to do. He's gotten him here. I don't think he's as good of a passer. He's very traditional in an era of movement and things like that. So, I think Will Howard's done a solid job. This is a guy who might definitely going to go in the NFL draft. Travion Henderson as well. Maybe not as good as some people thought, but 132, 976, possibly going in the second round. I know about first round with him, but definitely going early. Tremendous vision for a runner. I love his vision. I love the way he runs. Certain guys you can see it right away. You talk about guys like Marcus Allen, Le'Veon Bell, who actually navigate a run. This guy is one of these guys. Travion, good speed and all. I think he's got good vision. He's going to be great on the next level because he knows how to hit the hole, knows how to stop, knows where to stop in the backfield, wait for the hole to develop, all those things. I see a lot of that with Travion Henderson. Oh, baby. Jeremiah Smith, a freshman. That is right. I think this guy is a wow. If you watch him, 71 receptions, 12, 27, 14 TDs. Love watching him run. Emeka Uga is the other receiver. We thought Mark Harrison went to the NFL and he's going to be the number one guy because he's a first rounder as well. But Jeremiah Smith, man, just nothing he can't do. The catch radius, he looks like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar catching wide receiver. Outstanding stuff from him. Great speed in the red zone. You have a hard time with his 6-foot frame that you're trying to stop him from catching it. And he's only a freshman. He's not old enough yet to go into the NFL draft as well. So interesting to see. Obviously, he's going in the first round of the draft. He continues what he's doing without injury. Hopefully I say this right. JT Tuimoloau, 11.5 sacks. Jack Sawyer, 9 sacks. Both of these guys are going to be early round picks in the NFL draft. This is the strength of the Buckeyes. They come. Their pass rush is outstanding. They've had teams all season long that had trouble blocking. They're outstanding. These are physical outside. Some guys are the speed guys, the finesse guys. They blaze around the corner. These guys are going to shove you over. I see a lot of that old Midwestern stuff, physicality. That's what these guys do. Outstanding for these guys. Riley Leonard has come along during the course of the season. He's fun to watch. I'll say that. Sometimes he drives you crazy with decision making. He kind of, to me, you got to reel him in as a coach. I think he probably drives Marcus Freeman crazy at times with some of the stuff he does. Kind of reminds me, not as talented quite, but a Trevor. It's just sometimes I just look at Riley like, why'd you do that, man? He's got a little bit of that in him, but Riley Leonard, definitely fun to watch. Jeremiah Love, look at that, 1076, 140 carries. A young guy here for the Irish. Definitely physical guy. I think this is more of the power guy that we're talking about. You're seeing that with both of these teams. Offensive lines on Ohio State and Notre Dame, outstanding. That's a trademark of both schools. as far as that goes. Definitely running behind a great line. They don't throw the ball as much. Bo Collins, I think, was the leader. So that is the difference, I think, between Notre Dame and Ohio State with those outstanding receivers. Notre Dame, more of a pedestrian group. Collins did the most as well. These two guys, defenders, are going down the NFL second round, possibly late first. Benjamin Morrison, the cornerback junior, had 14 tackles as well. Definitely they're going to stay away from him. Will Howard and Xavier Watts, I think, is definitely the Bronco and Norski Award winner, one of the best safeties in the NFL draft coming up. 6 INTs. I'm going to go with Ohio State. This is going to be very close game. There's no way this is going to be Ravens Steelers, what we just saw. This is going to be nip and tuck the whole way. This is going to be I think 38-35. There's going to be a lot of offense on both sides. I think who has the ball last. I don't like them, their firepower, the Irish, in a spot against Ohio State. That's the only thing. They do everything else well. They run the ball well. They're physical. They're both at the line of scrimmage. Notre Dame really shoved around Georgia at the line of scrimmage in the playoffs. Really did a good job against Penn State as well. But I think they're going to need the Thunder. They're not going to be able to shut down this like first round collection of talent on Ohio State for a whole game. They're going to have to score. I think Ohio State scores more in this one. So I like the Buckeyes in this one. Games on January 27th, 30 at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And the game will be on ESPN. So absolutely check that out. All right. So definitely we're going to know who won. Cool. The playoff games have not been good. I don't think through fault of anybody's. I just think that's the way it went. I think playoff games, the NFL playoffs, even for that matter, last week, not as great. So we will hopefully get a good championship game at the end. Terps basketball, real quick before we go to baseball here. Terps, I think definitely you don't want to miss out on the Terps. Definitely got the good win against UCLA. That's a blue blood, big Big Ten win. I think that actually knocked the Bruins out of the top 25. I don't think they're there this week. So it was a good win for them. Still a little, I think 2 losses. I think probably the only reason they lost the 2 games a little bit ago with Washington and Oregon. That's why they're not top 25. They got 4 losses. I think they got 11 votes. So that's probably why they're not 25. This is definitely a top 25. They can beat anybody as well. The last game against Minnesota, they were victorious. I do think that was Minnesota, Ben Johnson's Minnesota Gophers. I think that kind of reminded me, frankly, of the Terps last year. Tough physical team. I think that's why it was, but they can't shoot. They couldn't shoot. They didn't shoot well. And I think they hung around. But also, I think that was the reason why they were able to stay in the game. This week, Maryland goes against Northwestern and Nebraska. So they're going to actually go to Illinois and play Northwestern on the road. Northwestern, not very good. I think they should win. But again, you go on the road, you got to travel. You got to go play a team that is trying to win the Big Ten games. I think, what is Northwestern? I think 10-6. They haven't won any road games yet. They're pretty much at the bottom of the Big Ten. Definitely, but you got next month coming in Indiana. We're going to go into that deep dive. You know, Indiana's having some struggles as well. We're going to go into the game, Michigan State, things like Illinois, really good teams. They're coming up. So Terps are really hanging in. I think definitely let's go ahead and see. Definitely they're on track to actually go in the NCAA tournament this year. Definitely we're going to talk more Terps as we go. All right, let's get to baseball. And we're doing our top 10 list here. Top 10 players in each position in the MLB. So we're doing last week, we started with the catcher, all the way around position players. right before opening day. That'll be the last one. Managers. Who are the top 10 managers in MLB? But on the field, let's go to the top 10 players in MLB here. Not as loaded a position in general. So, but I think, and that actually surprised me compared to years ago where every good big guy would play. You got guys now playing in different positions, shortstop, catcher, guys all not all just moving to first base from the minors if they can hit. So not as good, but a good left list here. Nathan Lowe from the Rangers. Rangers are looking to bounce back. I'm not really counting the Rangers out. Had a little bit of a hangover last year. They had a lot of injuries last year. All right, we're back. Sorry about that. Management appreciates your cooperation. All right, so top 10 first baseman. Get it back on the screen here. Okay, so he's going to need Bobby Witt's going to need a right hand. This guy's getting better and better. Definitely, I have him at 9. 8, Christian Walker of the Houston Astros now, formerly of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks, I don't know if this was wise not to keep him, but he's getting up there in age. This is part of why I don't have him higher. The production has been there for the last couple of years. 30 home runs, 100 RBIs. Definitely add to a lineup with Altuve, etc. No Kyle Tucker in the Astros lineup, so they're going to need his production. I definitely think they're getting a top 10 guy. He's definitely going to produce 20 plus home runs, 80 some RBIs. I absolutely like Walker. He's a good hitter. The age worries me a little bit. He's going to be like 35 pretty soon, so guys kind of fall off a little bit. But we'll see. I think I have him there. Diaz, Yandy Diaz, not quite as good last year as he was the year before. I think Diaz definitely a good solid hitter. I don't have him higher. I think at first, for me, I like to see a little bit more power. It's not really what he is. He's going to give you some power. His stats were down all across the board, but definitely you look at his career, definitely a good hitter, high 200 hitter, 300 hitter. I think that's going to continue. I don't like the fact with him also that the Rays won't be as good. I think that always matters with here. How much protection you have, how many guys are around you, etc. I think there's going to be more on him, but I think Diaz is probably going to be what we've seen, a good solid high 200, low 300 hitter as well. Going to give you a lot of RBIs and production. I have him a Josh Naylor. I think some people have been sleeping on him. So we talked about Christian Walker going from the Diamondbacks, and this is if they're replacing him with Josh Naylor. Here's what the Indians. Average, not high, his production is. Now, he was hitting next to Jose Ramirez, so we will see here. But this is a guy, not quite a Kyle Schwarber, but he's a guy that's definitely going to hit for average, hit for power, do a lot of those things as well. So I like Josh Naylor as a hitter. a power hitter. So this is what we call the old-fashioned Deadpool hitter. Defensively, I don't care. He's okay enough defensively. Not a stutter, not great, but definitely get a lot of home runs and RBIs from Josh Naylor. All right, here's the 5. If you want one of these guys first, this is kind of the line for me. Matt Olson, I think in 2023 was as good as anything I've seen. Really struggled a little bit with the Braves. Braves had that across the board last year, not quite as good. I'm still pretty much a believer in Olson, though. I think they have some offense there still. I think I'm going to chalk it up to a down year. Had some injuries, not just quite as good. I'm still putting him in the top 5. Top 5, even with the year I'm saying, I'm making it sound like he hit 10 home runs. He did. He had a lot. He had 20-plus home runs. Average was way down. I think Olson definitely, it wouldn't shock me if he had 30 home runs, 100 RBIs like he did in years. A lot of good years for the A's. Definitely Olson is there. Pete Alonso, TBA. Still don't know where Pete Alonso is. I thought the deal was done with the Blue Jays. So I don't know what's going on with the Blue Jays. They've kind of had a couple, I think they're kind of getting used a lot. Wherever he lands, he's going to be fantastic. I think there's a chance at this point he could wind up back in New York. I don't know if they've really filled that spot. Kind of like Josh Naylor even more. I kind of always hoped his average would be higher than it is, but that's really never happened for him. But again, a high home run RBI guy, good defensive player, though. That's the difference here. I really like his glove. Alonso better as well. Wherever he plays, I think I definitely put him in the top 5. You can pencil in 30 home runs and 100 RBIs for Alonso there as well. Vladdy Guerrero. I think he's on borrowed time in Toronto, but man, what a hitter he is. I think he really – the Vladdy we know kind of returned in 2024. Definitely he's going to be motivated. I think he's got a contract coming up. He should become one of the highest paid players in all of baseball. I have him at 3 there. I think tremendous power hitter, great with the average as well. Not really protected, not a lot around him. I think the team has gotten worse. And how motivated is that's just kind of the question with him. Like with Vladdy in general, he doesn't always seem like he wants to play and he's motivated. I think I kind of question his heart a little bit at times. He's got a heart of a good player, but there's a difference between a good player and a greatness, somebody who's achieving greatness. I kind of question that a little bit with Vladdy at times. But look, number 3 is outstanding. Good player on the Blue Jays. I keep thinking Freddie Freeman is going to drop off at some point. Going to be 30. I think he's 35. He's going to be 36. Freddie Freeman is fantastic. Perfect. Great defensive player. Doesn't miss any games. I don't spend time on a deal. He missed a few games last year, I think, with a family issue, but he hit 300. He hits for power. He hits for average. There's absolutely nothing wrong with Freddie Freeman. Look, when the Braves didn't take him anymore, I think age was a factor for a younger Matt Olson. Not sure. This guy has fallen off. So the Dodgers, you got Freddie Freeman. I think is probably one of the best hitters, I think, in all of baseball as well. He's definitely an MVP. I think absolutely. Number 2, if you put Freeman number 1, I don't have a problem with that. The first 5, I don't have a problem. If anybody was to put them 1, I have Bryce Harper 1. Bryce Harper is one of my, maybe I'm biased because he's one of my favorite players, but Bryce Harper has a heart of a lion, runs through a wall. Smart thing, putting him at first because he plays so hard. We talked about with Vladdy and the heart. Does he want to play? This guy always wants to play. Tremendous enthusiasm, always hits around 300, 30-plus home runs, RBIs. You keep him healthy, he's going to produce for as productive for as long a period of a player ever since he was 19 years old and he came in the majors. He's still outstanding. Bryce Harper, number 1 for the Phillies. There you go. All right. So definitely check that out here. Top 10 list. We're going to go ahead, put that on our social media so you can go ahead and check that out. All right. Orioles segment as well. talk a little bit of Orioles here. We're going to talk about spring training battles here. A couple things have happened with the Orioles in terms of signing. So definitely the Orioles this week went out and signed Andrew Kittredge as well this week. So this is a good sign, Andrew Kittredge. So they went ahead and signed him to a one-year deal, $10 million a year. So they went ahead and signed him to a contract as well. Orioles apparently did have an offer on the table for Jeff Hoffman, a 3-year, $40 million deal. Apparently something went wrong with the physical. Now, that's just something that the Angeles family always did. It seemed like something would always go wrong with the physical. So we will see about that, how well Hoffman does going forward. But this was good stuff, good signing. At least they were trying to do something, trying to sign a guy with that. Rosany Contreras also signed this week with the Orioles. I like him. I think like not as consistent yet at the major league level, but excellent stuff he has. And we're going to talk about him a little bit here in the battles here as well. But excellent stuff by him. So 2 really good bullpen signings. So I don't think you're going to see guys up and down like they did last year unless they're injured. So it'll be interesting to see how the Orioles do with that. Who is fighting it out in spring? So spring training battles, baseball's a little different. Kind of last year, we don't know how much spring training matters to the teams, the managers, and all that other stuff. We will see how much spring training matters to a lot of these guys. I will say spring training is the time where we get to see and guys get to see, and we're going to start beginning with guys. They get a chance to go ahead and play. I think as fans, I think it's good to see as well. But good team, not a lot of stuff as far as, there's not 4 or 5 positions open, but there's a few things still up in the air here. We'll see. And who's going to be battling it out in spring? Who's going to be leadoff as well? Gunnar Henderson, Jackson Holliday, Cedric Mullins. Cedric, I almost didn't even put him in. I don't know how much he's going to hit leadoff anymore. I would like to see it. I would like to see Gunnar Henderson drop down. I do think the long-term vision is to have Gunnar hitting second or third, but it hasn't happened quite yet. But I think they're hitting him first. I think he's good at hitting him first. I think in the long term, Jackson Holliday, I think, is going to be the leadoff hitter for the future. I think definitely that's what they're looking at him as. Can he hold on to it? I don't know if they're going to do that right out the blocks with him, but I do think a good spring could actually influence that. Well, I do think this spring will matter. He was good last spring and they sent him down. I think they were always going to do that. So I think they're actually looking at it more with a closer eye with him this spring. Interesting to see how that goes. This is not more of a battle, maybe per se, but I think it's interesting to see what happens. Mountcastle and Kobe Mayo. I think you have to put Kobe Mayo at first. I think trying to put him at third, I don't think that's a good idea. Jackson Holliday really struggled early in the year, but at least he was good defensively. Kobe Mayo struggled, and he wasn't he wasn't even giving you the defense. I think you could put him at first. 6 foot tall, like 6'5", 6'6". I think Kobe Mayo is tremendous power. I think he's going to have to do some adjusting at the major league level. I think this might be interesting in the sense of, is Mounty going to be on the team? That's kind of the thing. Can Mayo convince him to actually move Mountcastle? Because I don't think Mountcastle will be there in like a reserve role, but I think it'll be interesting to see if they see enough from Kobe Mayo. Can they convince to move on to Mountcastle, move him to another team, or try to trade him at some point? So interesting. 4th outfield, Henry Kerstad and Daz Cameron. This is what you want. Do you want the bat or do you want the glove? That'll be interesting. Can they both be outfielders? Possibly. They may keep 13 players and they may keep 2 outfielders. 4th and a 5th. I don't know. Interesting. Do you want the guy that's going to have of who's going to play any position. You could play center, left, right, and that's Daz Cameron as to major league experience, or do you want to bat? Now, Colton Cowser last year was the fourth outfielder to start the year. I could absolutely see Brandon Hyde going ahead and using him as a fourth outfielder or call him a fourth starter to actually do that. Not nearly as good defensively, not really as good in the left field. Interesting to see what happens with Daz Cameron there as well. Ryan O'Hearn. I'm sorry. Ryan O'Hearn and Heston Kjerstad, again, a designated hitter. O'Hearn is probably not going to play against righties. And if you ask Brandon Hyde, well, and then you can have him play, it's not going to play against, O'Hearn's not going to play against the lefties, and then Kjerstad to play against the righties. That's probably what they would say. I think it is a possible similar to the Mayo Mountcastle thing, where Kjerstad kind of takes this over at some point. He can kind of work his way from fourth outfielder to everyday DH, and then hit the outfield when they want to use Adley, etc. I have a chance that I think Kjerstad could take at bats as well. I think Hurst is going to be given every opportunity to do that as well. O'Hearn not quite as good last year, but he's very good situationally. Very good situationally. I could absolutely see Brandon Hyde having value Ryan O'Hearn just off the bench. That's something that old school name Jim Dwyer. I could absolutely see that for Heston Kjerstad. For Ryan O'Hearn. A couple more. The number one pitcher. I think this is fascinating. I did this last year. I said Grayson and Bradish, and then right after that, they will all sign Corbin Burns, blew it out the water. That ain't gonna happen this year. Right? It'll be one of these two. I'm thinking it's a possibility it could be Grayson. I think everything I'm seeing is it's Zach Eflin. I think Zach Eflin is more experienced, more seasoned, more of a guy. I think Grayson, is still waiting a little bit on because of all the injuries he's had. I think they're kind of not anointing him to that because he is, because of all the injuries. I think the long term, I think they view him as the ace of the future of the Baltimore Orioles. I think as long as he can stay healthy, big step up last year for Grayson. I thought Grayson was outstanding. He was terrific when he did pitch. So good stuff I thought Grayson did last year. Good job overall by Grayson as well. Who's going to be starting in the rotation at 3? Dean Kramer, Charlie Morton, and Sugano. I think it'll be Dean Kramer, I think, at the 3 spot. I think Morton, I think like they kind of see him like the Ravens see a Patrick McCary. There's value for him in the back of the rotation more than it is as well. And Sugano, I don't. All right. Real quick, the 9th inning, internet problems there. Real quick, I think in the 9th inning, hopefully I can get the graphic up here at the end. It is going to be in the let's see. Hopefully I can get it up. All right. So I guess fans will definitely go ahead and check us out on all of our social media platforms. Thank you very much for joining us here for the Ravery Sports Podcast this week. Definitely this week. I don't know if I got it on camera or not, but yeah, Kittredge. I think Dominguez is going to be in the 8th inning. I definitely think he's the better option of it. A Kittredge, I think they'll move him around more. And Yadier, I think he's going to use him in the 7th inning. He's going to have to fight for it with a better competition. Have a great rest of your day, guys.